Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Packer Universe podcast. We are a Green Bay Packers fan podcast that brings you topical and relevant Packers news, along with our most humble, subjective opinions. This is episode 282. We're recording this on a Thursday evening, August 15th, 2024. Just to remind all the podcast listeners, this is a video episode. So if you're listening on the podcast version, try heading over to our YouTube channel. Check us out there to see this video. We are at the end of week 3 of Packers training camp with one preseason game under their belts. So where are the Packers at right now? We'll be discussing that today. I'm your host, Tay, and joining me on the video screen is our one and only
Ren, what up, Tay? This finger pointing on the video screens,
You'll get it eventually.
Get me. I have not even come close getting that one right. But what up, Tay? I mean, how you doing on Thursday? Well, we already got one on our belt. You have been away for a little while, so we missed you on the pup list. Ren did a first timer on his own. It was a little something
Success
out there for the fans.
Yep.
But I think it went over okay, given all that. But when and where were you last Saturday night? And tell us how you may or may not have taken in any Packer preseason football.
I apologize to the universe. I was away on vacation. I didn't really align it as all other NFL people do, personnel and media alike. I didn't do it for the first part of June or middle of June like I'm supposed to. So I apologize, but we all appreciate Ren carrying the G while I was away. He did a great job. Go check that video out. That's our last episode or our video cast. Ren gets on the camera by himself. So just a little small applause for Ren there. Thank you very much. But I was out west in a state that doesn't have a football team. That is Montana. And there were a ton of Wisconsin people out there near Glacier National Park. Saw a lot of green and gold, Ren, hats, shirts, tons of stuff. It was great. Even saw like a bunch of the Packers license plates even out there. So I was pretty
nice.
Yeah. Right. So a lot
you
of
felt
lot
right
of
at home in Big Sky Country. Very nice.
Yep. So that was cool. The preseason game happened. I wasn't able to watch it, but kind of like was scrolling through the Twitter feed a little bit to see what was going on. Saw the first, not the first, but the third play, of course, with the bomb to Wicks from Jordan Love. And then in classic preseason fashion, first team's out of there, or at least Jordan Love is like gone. But that's okay. But then, over the next couple of days, just kind of like refresh myself on it. And what was the week before that was family night, and you recapped us pretty well on that. But I got home then the following day after the Packers' first preseason game against the Browns, and I was able to lounge on the couch and watch the football game, speeding through because it was on DVR. Fast forwarding through all the commercials, which is awesome and nice, and took the game in on the couch on that Sunday. So it was a little serendipitous, but it was nice to see that. And I don't know if you want to get into it right away. Excuse me, but the preseason game. You want to talk about the Browns game?
I mean, we should say. I mean, we haven't had a chance to talk, and we're catching up on your activities out west. And I tell you what, I mean, you can't ask for, Jordan's going to play, and you were out of town, and 2 days before that, you've got Jordan Love on a play in training camp, going down, holding the back of I think his right leg on the backside of the knee, and everybody's like, gasp. And no big deal. And everybody's like, no, it's not a big deal. It's not a big deal. And everybody's like, oh my God. Like, do we rethink Jordan playing on Saturday? Inevitably he did. It wasn't a big deal. And just, a little discomfort on a play in training camp. But I tell you what, I mean, they did and set out what they were going to do. And that was to play a series, hopefully score 7 and get out of there. And guess what? It took a quick running play to Josh Jacobs for 7 yards, a quick pass to Josh Jacobs for -2 yards, and then a 65-yard bomb to Dontavian Wicks. You couldn't have thrown the ball any better. And yeah, get him the heck out of there. What else do you need to see? That's all you need is live reps, and Wicks just gets beyond the safety, and it's game over, Tay. And that's my
That's how
guy,
they. That's
Dontavian
kind of like
Wicks.
what Wicks is your guy now. Dobbs is
He
mine.
was
Wicks is yours.
Wicks is my guy last year. You know that.
I know. I know.
Dontavian,
I know.
he's got that middle of the field. He's got that little bit of even Matt LaFleur talked about it last year. A little bit of Tay Adams juice. He
Yeah.
just has a couple of these moves, and that's what he did in that play. He just kind of shimmies, and suddenly he's 2 yards behind the guy, and it's shooting fish in a barrel. Tay.
Yeah. I love that he's being shown really well in practice. I mean, Wicks has been on fire in practice, and he was in the game. I love to see that. We all knew he was kind of a stud in the waiting here, and we're finally getting to see it constantly, or at least consistently, right? It's pretty typical of that. The Packers now take their starting quarterback, play him till they score, and they expect to score on that first drive, and then they score and then they leave. Aaron did it, and now Jordan's doing it. It's perfectly fine. We don't need to see a guy we just gave a ton of money to, $75 million. We don't need him more than the first drive. Do not need it. So
Yeah.
I'm glad to see that went to plan. I almost think that's could be like a ongoing record or something, consecutive record, like opening drive score in a preseason game, and then to just get out of there. So I love that. Watching the preseason game run, I was just generally happy with the whole team in general. They seemed energetic. They seemed on top of things. Not necessarily like faltering or having huge mistakes here and there. I thought everyone pretty much played at a baseline, really good level. And you have maybe just a couple people that played under that, and I think that's where you start nitpicking. You're like, "Ooh, that guy underperformed. So what does that mean to us? What do we say about that? And can you take anything away from that? Is that a trend? So these are the questions you're asking yourself. Like, there was a baseline. Everyone played pretty good, but then you had like a couple of people underneath a little bit, and maybe those are the people on the bubble. But one person I wanted to touch on, and I don't know exactly how I feel about it, but AJ Dillon, right? He just,
Oh, that's your comeback player of the year, Tay.
I know,
Mhm.
and
Just to remind you,
just to
that's your
remind
comeback
Packer
player.
Universe, he was my comeback
Mine is
player of the
mine was
year.
who?
What?
Eric
I don't
Stokes.
know.
Okay, here we go.
And Eric's been playing very, very well.
Yep.
But AJ Dillon, I was just like, are you kidding me? Here we go again. It's not happening. But I relaxed. I watched more of those plays, and then just kind of thought to myself, okay, no, like it's an obvious, maybe potential easy target to say like, oh, AJ can't do it. He can't get things done. He's two steps in a pile of dust. But uh, I
We're not dealing with the exact starting line. Number one, let's remember that.
right,
Give
and
AJ that breath. And listen, the blocking scheme wasn't great. Now you would hope, with regard to AJ Dillon, like you can get a yard on third or fourth down. But well, hey, it's preseason. You forgive anybody like that, and I don't think all the hate he's gotten since then moving forward is totally deserved, because this guy can, come any game action in the regular season, he can drop into pass pro, and they don't have a lot of running backs at this point in
yeah.
general. Just not even talking about pass pro, but they don't have a lot of running backs that can do that. So AJ definitely has a spot at this point, and hey, you forgive that and you move forward.
Uh, and when you look at the plays, there wasn't a whole lot of places for him to go. I wanted to critique him initially on like, dude, just go downhill. When when he gets first contact, he seems to go down. When he stops and tries to adjust, it's when he goes down. So I just want him to run downhill, gain some momentum. And these are the same complaints we had last year about it. Was that like he's not a one move and then burn you kind of guy. He's full steam ahead, ram him over, and you get your yard or 3 yards. But as soon as he starts doing fancy stuff, it just doesn't work out. But he was heavily critiqued, and I guess I kind of pulled back and I was like, no, it's not all him, right? It's some of the offensive line. But then I do have the video of him in the locker room with the Fox News reporter. Do you want to watch that?
Sure, go ahead.
This was Cody Krupp. He was in the locker room from Fox 11 News in Green Bay, and he had this to say.
On Saturday, he didn't have a ton of opportunities, of course, trying to get, the second, third, and one. When you look back on film, people on Twitter might say, why can't he get a yard? Like, what did you see when you watch back? Is there, it seems like, is there no room? It's just nothing to, what can you do at some point?
I graded a 98%. If you know football, you watch the tape, and you don't look at the stats, and you are actually put yourself in the game, somebody else go out there and do more than what I did. That's just a situation, and that's football. And sometimes you have a drive like that where, a block doesn't happen here, block doesn't happen there. I don't know what Twitter said because I don't go on Twitter unless I'm posting something, but I can imagine somebody, there's nowhere you're gonna go there in those certain situations. But in all honesty, man, if you don't live inside my house, your opinion to me is so secondary that I couldn't be bothered with it. But to anybody on Twitter or whatever, you can't do what we're doing. Just enjoy, just watch. And I promise you, everybody in this building is working their ass off to do the best they can.
I love it, AJ. So I
Yeah.
really congratulate him on those comments. It's a little, sometimes it's a little edgy, but it's truth, right? It's the truth. Like, we're not in his shoes. We're not doing the work. We don't know, and put ourselves in that situation, we would be, probably 5-10 yards lost. I know all the keyboard warriors and the armchair warriors and the quarterbacks will say that they could get that yard or two, but you just don't know. So I love that he came out and said that. He's being real about it. And yeah, he's an easy target because of what his production was last year. But I think, and I don't like to see this, it's like I saw it and I was like, oh, are you kidding me? This is my bounce back player. I want more from him. We need more from him. And so I'm giving him the benefit of the doubt. I want to see some production. And this is preseason, right? If this is week 1, into week 4, and we're getting this,
I don't care if it's any week of the regular season. If you can't get that yard on third or fourth down and it's real game action, they need it, then we'll talk about it. At this point, preseason, it is what it is. I mean, we can talk about Sean Clifford, who's had a tough camp in that game. Listen, Tay, he's kind of a gamer. He's kind of a Matt Flynn type. Goes out, slings it around. Had amazing 2-minute drill with Grant DuBose. Hits him on the sideline. They get 3 going into half. I mean, there are things to look at and praise and also to get down on. But at the same time, it's still preseason. And we know that, in training camp, talking about guys like Sean Clifford, it's tough at times. He's certainly not had the camp you'd like to see from your second-year backup quarterback. But at the same time, had a nice preseason game. So you just don't know what you're going to get at times, and that's part of the NFL. And again, heavy criticism will be, laid out if it is a real regular season great game. At this point, I don't think it matters for much.
Yeah, I agree. I guess just a couple more highlights from that game. I think Grant DuBose played better than Heath did. I've liked DuBose to make the team as that last receiver to make the roster, and I think he did really good things to do that.
That'd be a 5 for 6 for 66. That's right on the top of this
wow,
noggin,
look at that.
Packer noggin. And dude was balling out. He's had a very good camp. Packer type, Packer body type. Last year obviously was not available in camp, but really pushing for that 6-7 spot. Do they keep 7? Bo Melton was the guy, Tay, on Saturday that really struggled, and something you don't expect from Bo. And he's got, outside of outside of Christian, he's got that speed element that they don't really have on the roster otherwise. So we expect Bo to bounce back. But back to you, speaking about bouncing back.
Marshawn Lloyd, I think, did well for his, I guess, first preseason game. What do you think?
1 carry.
Yep. Yeah. But
very effective 1 carry. You saw the ability of him on 1 for 8, I want to say. And then, guess what? Hammy.
Yeah,
What's
I know.
the consistent part of Packer camp? This is probably, outside of Cooper, my second favorite pick. And yeah, not available, Tay. And you know what to say about availability, Tay.
We'll see. We'll see how long this lingers or keeps him out. But Wilson was in there, and again, Wilson looks great in preseason. I don't know what it is, but he looked good last season too. So you kind of go like, dang, like they can't carry 4 running backs, can they? So
Well, does Marshawn get pupped? I don't know at this point.
I don't know.
This is the pup list, Tay.
This
it
is the pup
certainly
list.
Coming down to that.
Yeah, and that might be a good strategy for the Packers if this injury is lingering for him, because they don't want to put him to the practice squad. That's not going to happen.
No.
So you got to protect that asset,
Mm-hmm.
So the running back situation is a little strange right now, with people being out. We'll talk about the Packers moves in a little bit here with the running back position, but just concentrate on the game a little bit. I thought the defense did well. Maybe they're not showing it, but I thought I was seeing way more containment rather than attack. And maybe that's by design. Maybe that's what's supposed to happen here. But I didn't see that like go get the ball, get the quarterback, get the ball carrier. I saw containment, like keeping guys in front of them. And the only guy I really saw with my own eyes that did awesome was, I am totally spacing his name. Number
The Van
33
Ness monster.
No, it wasn't the Van. No, it was the safety.
Evan Williams.
Yes,
Mr.
my boy,
Bourbon
33,
himself.
33.
Yeah,
Evan Williams.
had the strip. Yep.
I thought he had a great game. I love what I saw.
And he's had a great camp today. I mean, listen.
Absolutely.
Listen, I mean, we're worried about a little bit about that linebacker position with some of these rookies that have really not had opportunity in Cooper and Hopper. And I love some Edgerrin Cooper, and unfortunately, still one of the only 4 guys not practicing now. But Evan Williams has been, a lot of people griped about this guy being a reach when they took him, but he has been more than advertised. He's really putting himself in position to be, in the mix all year long as they go to big nickel. They do different things with regard to that backfield. Bullard's been great too. Evan Williams had himself a game, and another guy had himself a game today. That Van Ness monster. He's starting to turn that corner, giving you these looks and getting multiple pressures. They kept him out there in multiple series, getting him more reps, and that's what LaFleur said. Hey, he didn't have enough reps in college, and we're kind of getting him lathered up and get him ready. And it seems like Lucas may be set for that Rashawn Gary year 2 kind of jump, and it's pretty exciting. He had a great game himself as well.
Yeah, I agree, and I'm waiting for his, I guess, what do you call it? Like his showing, his coming out party this year. I don't want the Van Ness monster to be some myth, some legend that you don't see or hear from. You see once in a while when you run down Justin Fields and tackle him, out of bounds. I don't want to see that. I want to see it constant. I want to see demanding Van Ness monster on every play that he's in. I can't wait for that, and I'm hoping for that. I hope I don't get my hopes up about it, but this is what I want, and man, we need him to deliver. So, the Van Ness monster.
Yeah, he was exactly that though, Tay, in Cleveland. He was getting after it just about every play he was in that game. last Saturday. So he was, that's what you want to see as advertised when you take a guy that high, getting into his second year. Yep.
I thought everyone played well on the Packers team. I thought the team looked great. They looked like they're having fun. You didn't see any huge mistakes. You didn't see like fights or contention. I think Matt LaFleur said Stenovich did a lot of the calling for the plays, which is great. Like let's get this team being a team and working together and doing all sorts of different things to just move everyone as a whole unit forward and progress together. And I love that. So I came out of this game against the Browns feeling really good about the Packers. Again, it's a preseason, but they put a really good showing out there for us.
And remember, Cleveland was 11-6 last year, Tay. This team is a very good football team. They have very good backup quarterback play literally through the whole roster. In fact, some of their backups may be better than their crappy starter. We know Deshaun has not been a successful quarterback in Cleveland since he's been there. You've got Hundley, who used to be in Baltimore there, a couple of other guys who are very accomplished backup quarterbacks. They have a lot of very nice skill position players as well in Cleveland. And essentially they, 2-1 yardage through the first half, and essentially Green Bay dominated that game, winning 23-10. There's not much to be said. I mean, Michael Pratt played well with the threes, but I think that's a nice transition point. Is that here we get into week 3, and we talked about, going into this whole 2024 training camp preseason era, is one of the things to look for was going to be, the backup QB battle. And finally this week, Michael Pratt starts getting run with the twos instead of, the big red dog. And, finally, and it's starting to pay dividends, man. I mean, this guy throws crisp balls. He's not throwing the picks that Sean was throwing. He's getting the ball out in front. He's getting it, on the money, right on time, consistently, as opposed to Sean, who does have bumps in the road. But again, when he gets to the game time, that nice 2-minute drill we talked about earlier in Cleveland, that's stuff you like to see. So game action matters as well. But absolutely, Michael Pratt deserves an opportunity to win the backup position. He was fantastic at Tulane. Again, Tulane's all-time leading passer. And I want to see a quarterback comp. I want to see that competition. I want to see it happen over these next 2 preseason games. Make them fight for it. Make them both earn it. They're both good guys. I mean, I've heard Sean talk about it all this week that, hey, he loves having Michael there and vice versa. They like pushing each other. And that's what a good quarterback competition is all about. You're good. I'm good. We're going to just force each other to play at our best every day. So what do you say about finally Michael getting some run with the twos? And we finally, to end this thing, I mean, next week, Tay, they got 2 practices open to the public left. This thing's done. But finally, we're getting to these last 2 preseason games where there's going to be a real piece to watch, and it is the backup quarterback position and who really ends up with it.
I mean, having a competition for the QB2 is something that's pretty great. Like you want that. And honestly, these 2 guys, to me, like I'll take either one of them. I don't know that Pratt is like hands down above and beyond better than Clifford. I just personally don't know that. I'm kind of indifferent about who makes it. I don't care. I guess like in the end, the Packers will make the right decision and probably choose Pratt as my guess. Clifford being out, Pratt being younger, maybe that's just the style they had. But I think maybe the coaching staff just looked at this and said, Clifford's just made too many mistakes now to warrant having him being, run out there ahead of Pratt. So now they're giving him a chance, and that's what they should be doing. They should be putting each of those guys in the same situation with the same group of guys and seeing what they can do with what they have. And we're seeing it this week that Michael Pratt is taking that opportunity and running with it.
Throwing
that's
dimes,
great.
man.
It's great, and if he's the better quarterback, so be it. Like let's go. Like it's
100%.
fine. And I think to that end, both quarterbacks whichever one wins out, the other one will probably end up on the practice squad, is my guess. Maybe Pratt doesn't, and some other team scoops him up. But Clifford, he's probably going to the practice squad, and that's probably where they'll keep him because sometimes if quarterbacks get injured, obviously they need a third quarterback. We're not going to
Yeah.
roster 3 of them, that's for sure. In that Brown situation, dude, just a quick anecdote. I was watching the DVR game, and it was on NFL Network, and this was national coverage. I wasn't watching the Packers TV network. So I was getting the whole sideline thing. They didn't do any Packers. I don't know if that was because they couldn't, but they were just ramming this Browns sideline interviews down your throat. And they kept talking about the 4 quarterbacks constantly. I'm just like, yeah, so what? Like,
They got
like,
they got a lot of quarterback talent there. Really, they do. I mean,
oof.
definitely somebody scooping up one of those before the season ends.
Yeah, they got
somebody's going to the Browns well to get a backup quarterback. No doubt about
they
it.
got Jameis Winston, Tyler Huntley, and then Dorian Thompson Robinson, which they kept calling
DTR.
DTR. I was just like,
yeah, DTR, man, get with it.
DTR.
Come
So
on.
I gotta go with the
40s or
lingo.
your 20s, Tay. That's DTR, my guy.
DTR, second year quarterback. So I was just like, after a while, I said to my wife, God, this is another Browns interview. Like, I don't want to hear any more about the quarterbacks. It's just like I almost muted it at that point. But regardless, our quarterback situation, we're in a good spot. We love this, I guess, to us, friendly competition here with QB2 situation.
I'll pull it back from that a little bit. I don't know if I love their backup situation. If Jordan goes
you'd
down
like to
for a
have
couple of weeks
competition.
today, I don't know if I love it, but I love the last 2
true.
weeks. Give me the competition. This is what I wanted going into camp. I want to see these 2 guys really push it out. And I also, when you got a guy like Pratt who's a rookie, they stole him in the 7th round, had a third round grade on him. Like, yeah, go make them battle it out, Tay. Let's see what these guys have, but give them the equal talent to work with. And now finally they're doing it with Pratt. That's what he deserves. And it's going to be really interesting, against the Broncos and then the following week against the Ravens to see what these guys do, because they're going to get most of the run. And I hope both equally get run with the 1s and 2s. And it ends up kind of giving you an idea like, yeah, you got the first-year player versus second-year player. And, if Pratt is far and above better, I mean, it tells you everything about the growth there forward. And I don't think somebody's going to peel off Sean Clifford if he ends up on your practice squad at that point.
Yeah, no. A pleasant surprise to me, Ren, was that Sean Ryan was a center for like 40 snaps or something like that, 30 snaps. Yep. And I don't know if that was purely based on injuries and availability of some players, but I think they just wanted him to try it out. And I love that. Again,
you know what that's about, Tay? That's about versatility, Tay.
It is. And I was just
the Packers like availability, but also like versatility on that offensive line.
They do.
That's a Packer thing. Give it to me all day long.
33 snaps. 33 snaps he did.
Yeah, fill my veins with that offensive line versatility.
And that's exactly my ultimate point with mentioning that is like, God, like we love this. We're used to this now. We're used to Swiss Army knives on the offensive line. And if he can do that, we were talking almost a year ago when Rob brought it up. Rob Demoski, friend of the podcast, talked about how Tom was going to be like, it could be the center of the future. And it's like, now you have Jenkins, Myers, Ryan, Tom, all available to snap that ball. And I love it. And props to Gutekunst for nabbing these players up. And then props to Matt LaFleur for, I don't know, giving him the opportunity and showcasing some of these guys' talents. So that's awesome. I love it.
It's awesome, man.
Let's see. Injuries. So it's kind of like ups and downs. People are coming back and forth with injuries, and that's pretty typical of the preseason. Some you worry about, some you're like, it's okay. But right now, you mentioned it, just a little snippet there. There's 4 guys that are out right now. That's running back Marshawn Lloyd with the hamstring. Another running back, Jarvian Howard. He
had some nice showing, if you can
did.
recall in your rewatch when you get home. Yep.
Yep.
Go ahead.
He's got an ankle problem. Defensive end Keyshawn Banks groin and linebacker Edgerrin Cooper hip. Came back this week was Carrington Valentine with a hammy and Tyron Hopper. He's still limited, but he's back practicing. So not a long list, Ren, but
That's a great list, Tay, to be honest. I mean, injury bug wise,
Mhm.
you're into the third week. They've been blessed so far.
So
This is, and not to poke fun. I mean, it's pretty tough goings out to the West, but the Vikings, tough week out there in Skull Land.
I was going to bring that up during Around the Universe. JJ McCarthy is out for the season for the Vikings, the rookie quarterback with meniscus tear. And I don't know if they put him on injured reserve right away or just kind of said he wasn't going to play. But it's to what Aaron Donald to be the quarterback now. Not Aaron
That'd be
Donald. Wow.
Sam
Sammy
Darnold.
Darnold.
I
So
know I was drinking tonight, Tay,
Yeah.
but I don't know what you've been having. Maybe you're drinking some of those weed drinks. I don't know, man.
No, I didn't. Nothing was like legal out there in Montana. So, Sammy's gonna be your guy out there in Minneapolis. And
we had Jordan Addison
Like-
out on a cart and now crutches after the game. I mean, they're struggling, Tay.
I didn't think they were going to be in position to do much in the NFC North anyway. Maybe they could have, but this is, disappointing for them. And maybe we'll see you next year, Vikings.
It's definitely a rebuild and was going to be that either way. But I think, what the Packers face the Vikings week 3 or week 4. And I think, listen, JJ McCarthy had a really good camp for them. He had a great game through an interception to start the game and came back. You get Justin Jefferson running on the sidelines, watching this guy pumping his fist. He's been great today. He really has. And it's unfortunate. You don't ever, you'd rather,
I don't wish something.
You'd rather be the best to beat the best. And I think probably by week 3 or 4, we could have probably seen JJ McCarthy. So it's unfortunate for them. I love to root and beat and hate the Vikings, and I'd rather have them at full strength, but it is what it is. And, we'll see them next year.
And I can't wait to talk to our friend of the podcast, Joey Christopoulos, about the Caleb Williams hype. But it's insane that he's putting up some good stats in the preseason, which
not
is,
really.
Which is funny to me. Well,
they're
it's
overloading on plays he had. I think it was 5 of 8 for 30-some yards today.
But that's what I'm saying.
There's this great play that he rolls to his right, Tay.
Yeah.
And he off platform throws a dot to Cole Kmet, and it's gorgeous. It's off platform Aaron Rodgers stuff from 2011, and he's
the best MVP.
This is a franchise, Tay, that's never had a 4,000-yard passer. Every other franchise in the NFL has. That's how pathetic this franchise is. The Bears still suck. Let's be honest about that. And they're ready to just get over the moon on what is and was a very nice play to our friend Joey. I trolled him on the internet. We had a little fun trolling back and forth. I sent him a little, clip of that play and asked him if his heart was okay. And he's over the moon about it. But, we had a little fun together. But, yeah, the Bears fans got to temper that. Yes, Caleb looks like he could be a dude. He's still not a dude. His stats weren't out of this world, but he had one great play. That was his deal last week. That's it. But Bears fans, they're putting money in on this MVP thing already today.
Right. Let them do it, Red. They're up here right now. They're just, wow, this is their, this is their Super Bowl is the off season. And we're still in the off season. Well, you can call it the preseason, but we're not playing the regular season yet, Red. So let them go, let them ride, let them get their bills out, putting money down, thinking Caleb's the MVP. This is going to be great he's not.
Listen, I think Caleb is their best chance in not forever, but literally ever
lately
to hit that 4,000-yard mark. They've, again, only franchise never to have done it. But, is this guy gonna suddenly lead them from, their middling fashion to, a playoff team this year? I don't think so. Aaron
No.
Rodgers in his first year was 6-10. So again, as we told Joey many months ago, got to temper that. Um, you gotta crawl before you walk, right? And they're way over their skis in Chicagoland.
The Packers signed a new running back. His name is Nate McCrary.
Uh,
And
new but
what?
new but old toys, Tay.
What?
That's a man. That's
New?
a man that's been with the Green Bay Packers.
Oh, yeah.
Nate McCrary, new but old. Yes.
So, with the injuries in that room, they brought someone else in. He wants to obviously be the best he can be. Is that going to go anywhere? I don't know. Probably not, but you never know. He could be the new Emmanuel Wilson. Who knows? Um, but they need a body. They need a body for this
I will
weekend.
tell you this, Tay. I mean, there are some position groups on this team that I'm a little concerned about, and that is definitely one of them going into the season. The running back room is pretty thin at this point.
Yeah.
Obviously, you got AJ, they get Emmanuel, obviously Josh, but the screen game has sucked throughout the preseason because they just can't get it going. Part of that's just part of the preseason. But obviously, not having Marshawn there and somebody who's dynamic, a little bit of a concern. Um, this could be a thing where they bring in a vet, you know, right before they hit the
Yeah.
plane, hit the tarmac over to Brazil. That you've got a Melvin Gordon or somebody in there that you need another guy because this is a room that I'm a little kind of like middle linebacker. I'm not feeling 100% positive about it. Although McDuffie's been fantastic. Looks like going to go roll with Quay and McDuffie again. McDuffie playing in so far in preseason better than he's ever played. Again, it's preseason. So those two rooms right now, I'm not feeling great because Edgerrin's not getting the work. Marshawn's not getting the work. I'm not feeling awesome about it.
Yeah. So they did kind of try to rectify that middle linebacker, the MLB's position. Ren. They signed somebody. They signed a undrafted free agent, Chris Russell out of Texas A&M. His RAS score was 8.58. It's pretty high, and he's a teammate of your boy Edgerrin Cooper. Brought
Yes.
him in, and he is, obviously it's a camp body. If he didn't have the injuries, you wouldn't bring him in. But maybe he
He actually
plays well.
worked out with the Packers earlier this year as well.
hmm
So,
So yeah, I love that. Maybe he finds a place on this team or the practice squad. But you need another body in here, so that's what they're doing. And I agree with you. Like those two position groups are a little suspect at the moment, especially when you add in the whole injury factor. But I think I'll tend to disagree with you on they'll bring in a veteran player at any position. I just don't think that's what they're doing lately. The
I'm
Packers
talking
MO is
cheap
not that.
veterans. Hey, I'm not talking an
Yeah,
expensive guy, but
I guess
yeah.
so. And they've kind of done that over the last like 4 years, where they'll pick up somebody that's you thought was out washed out to sea, but uh, I just don't see that happening now with this young, different foundational group that they have. I just don't see that happening. I think
I I
they're gonna
agree
stick
but
with that.
disagree, Tay. I think there's a very good chance to bring up a semi-washed running back that's a vet that helps them get through week one, week two, put some tread on the tire, opposite Josh Jacobs, that they need it. I wouldn't be surprised at all.
Okay. Well, I would. I'm curious to see what they'll do if they feel they need to do something. Obviously these injuries keep going. They, don't get any better. Well, maybe we'll see that. Uh, let's see, Ren. The game is coming up on Sunday night. The Packers left today. Today's Thursday. We're
Wheels
recording
up.
this on Wheels Up. Packers went out to Denver, and they're going to participate in a joint practice tomorrow with the Denver Broncos. And I think it was even starting last week. MLF Matt LaFleur indicates that a lot of the starters aren't going to play, and that's being because a lot of them are going to be playing tomorrow in the practice. I think they're
Yeah.
focused more on that. They can probably see a lot more and get more out of it doing it that way than putting them in the first quarter or whatever of the preseason game. So you're going to see a lot of these, second, third, fourth tier players from the Packers. And hopefully I commented to myself that we saw a lot of Pratt. I'm sorry, not a Pratt. We saw a lot of Clifford in the Browns game. I thought almost too much. I was like, okay, let's get Pratt out here. So, but maybe this is Pratt's game here with the Broncos. Like he gets, 3/4 out of the 4 or something. We'll see. But it'll be his time to shine. It'll be a lot of these guys' time to shine. And for us, we kind of know who the starters are anyway at this point. So a lot of this, second level, third level guys, we need to figure that out still. So this is a great opportunity for that. And I think we all can see that and understand that. So you're not going to get flashy starters on Sunday night, but you're going to get a lot of, I don't know, a lot of him and Han from us probably watching inadequate football. Maybe I don't know with the way
I
that they
love
played
the
against the
inadequate
Browns.
football. We're talking roster spots 46 to 53. Tay.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
who's going to be tight end 3 or 4? Who's going to be wide receiver 6 or 7? It's unfortunate again that I will say, Edgerrin Cooper and Marshawn Lloyd, those guys are way behind the 8 ball to even sniff being a starter until probably at this point now, somewhere well after not even starter, but getting reps till well after week 4. That's where they're already under the gun. And that part is disappointing as 2 players drafted so high that we had a lot of expectation and excitement to see in the preseason. So, but yeah, I mean, you go back to these position group battles. I mean, Kalen King, I mean, he's had a fantastic camp as well. Not talked about enough. Him getting back out there, seeing what he's bringing to the table. I mean, these are fun things to watch. And that's why preseason still exists. This pushes guys. This gets guys roster spots. Some guys end up being starters for years on years. I mean, Tramon Williams. I mean, this is an undrafted free agent. You don't know who's out there and what's that. So I like it. I mean, you and I spend too much damn time talking about this stuff, not to find the excitement in, kind of pinning down this quarterback battle and these other battles they have on, what does Caleb Jones look like? I mean, can he be the swing tackle? Do they need to ring up David Bakhtiari and be like, we need swing tackle? I mean, I don't know, Tay, but the reality is, these are things that kind of start working themselves out here with preseason game number 2 and then finally into next week. So I'm pretty damn excited about it.
Something about those UDFAs. Ken Engels, he's that like kind of cap guru on Twitter. I think he writes for Packers Wire sometimes too. But he threw out an interesting tweet the other, like maybe it was a couple days ago, and it made me think, and I think it's an exercise that you and I should do maybe next week. Right? Is he said, are any UDFA players on the Packers going to make this roster? Usually, at least one of them does. And it's like a Camp Darling situation where it's like, oh my God, this guy came out of the woodwork and he's great and he makes the team and contributes. But I think if we bring up a list of all of our undrafted free agents that we have on the team this year, I think it'd be interesting to go through those and to kind of like guess or predict whether any of them are going to make the team or not.
I love the exercise, but I don't think it's going to be a very fruitful one, Tay.
Right. So and that's kind of like the question in itself is the answer, but you never know. We have this game that's focused on a lot of other players this week against the Denver Broncos, and then you have joint practice following week with Ravens, and then that final preseason game at home with the Ravens. And maybe a undrafted free agent shines in the next couple of weeks. We don't know. And hopefully we'll find out, because I would love it. It's always a great story for a person like that to kind of go, come out of nowhere, prove everyone wrong and make the team. It's happened countless years with the Packers. And I don't know, this year could be different, but it also, could be the same. We'll see.
And we know it won't be Peter Bowden. So,
man, he got cut
again. And, it's like 2 for 2 on that one. So Matt Orzich kind of seems to have that lockdown.
Yeah, they wouldn't be flip-flopping with him if it wasn't the case.
We'd be remiss not to talk about the kicking game. I know they brought in Alex Hale. He's not been good this week. It's really come down to Greg and Anders. And to be honest, everybody would point out today in that Cleveland game, they both made all the kicks, but Greg banged them and Anders made them. So really, this thing's pushing towards Greg Joseph. I would say at the moment that he should get the nod over Anders Carlson as the kicker at this point in time through camp.
Here's the stats through yesterday. Andy Herman tweeted this out. Greg Joseph is 83%. Anders Carlson is 80%. Alex Hale is 67%. And both were terrible. All of them were terrible yesterday at practice. And so you're right. It's just like, man.
Yeah. Well, and I bring that back to the Cleveland game. On the 2 field goals, and hey, listen, Anders hit a nice, end of the half field goal, but it wasn't true. It was just squeaked in. Great, 46 yarder. Attaboy, I tweeted. I remember it. Yep. But Greg's 2 opportunities just bang. I mean, talking dead center on them. So you're kind of talking like a guy who's squeaking them in versus a guy who's just banging them. So it sounds like maybe Greg, something I missed from today's or yesterday's, had a struggle bus day a little bit, but he's dropped. I think he was around 90. That he's dropped almost to meet Anders around 80%.
Yeah, and I think there were also factors listed that some wind, going against the wind and all this stuff.
Oh, wind. Like
that's their job.
Elements in Green Bay, Wisconsin, Tay?
Yeah.
What's that about?
Right.
I think you got to figure that out. If you're going to be the kicker of the Green Bay Packers, you better damn well be able to figure out a little bit of elements that you're dealing with. So, cry me a river, but I don't care about any of that.
You're telling the players to figure it out because it's their job, and you're right. But what about Brian Gutekunst? I mean, we dealt with do the right thing last year. Didn't happen. Do the right thing this year. You think this is going to end with Joseph being on the team as the starting kicker? I just don't think so. Anders Carlson is their guy, and they're sticking to it to,
but here's
the
thing,
no end.
As I've heard people make points about it over the last couple weeks, Anders Carlson gets cut. Who's like, I got to have him.
I know. But the Packers are so stubborn sometimes.
So the reality is probably ends up on your practice squad. Maybe somebody else's that you can then nab off their practice squad. But where is he going to be the starter today?
I know.
He's not.
I don't.
So you just got to pick, and you got to go with, not just your gut, but what
swallow
says,
your
hey,
pride a little bit.
This has been the better guy. Go with it. And if that's Greg Joseph, he's made big kicks in his career. He had a big year in Minnesota one year, making game winners. You got to go with him. So if he wins it and he ends up being the guy who's banging them down the middle and has a much better percentage when we get to the break, when they're doing cut downs, you got to cut Anders at this point in time.
You know what?
Again, he's not going to be some sought after, commodity out there in the NFL.
I know. I agree with that. You know what number Greg Joseph wears?
Nope.
Number 2. He wears number 2.
So
that's not poetry. It just keeps rhyming. It just keeps rhyming.
I'm disappointed in you. I'm disappointing you for that one. Go ahead.
All right, so we got the Packers matchup against the Broncos, preseason action. It's like Monday Night Football. I don't know if they're saying it is. It's just at 7:00. I don't know if that is
not Monday night.
Sunday
night football.
Sunday night. Sorry, not Monday night. Sunday Night Football.
It is a national broadcast, I believe.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I don't know if there's a way I can get the Packers TV network on this time. I'm gonna do it. I don't know if I can handle that national media. They're gonna be sitting down with Sean Payton.
You should have Kevin Harlan on NBC 26. He does the Packers preseason. However, I did not get that last week. I have Hulu today, and it was the Olympics, and I did see an epic ending of the men's basketball gold medal game, which was incredible. So I don't even have to tell you about that. It was amazing watching the threes rain down from Steph Curry. So I wasn't super mad about it when I went to turn it on, but because the NBC was carrying the Olympics, it went to my 32, which was not on my Hulu, so I could not watch the game. So in classic Ren fashion, radio dial, got it tuned in.
Wayne Larrabee. Hey, tell
101,
me,
101 WIXX. Yes.
we're in Wisconsin, so just a brief moment for Wisconsin sports. The gold medal team for basketball. Why wasn't Giannis on that team, or was he can't be because
Oh,
he's
Tay,
not?
you're making me feel bad. You're just
Do
such a
I?
noob. You're such a
Is he?
noob.
Is he
You're
not a
such a
citizen?
noob.
Is that why?
He's Greek, Tay. He was on the Greek
Yeah,
now.
I know. Oh, he was okay. Okay. I don't know. Like maybe he has dual citizenship, and he
Oh,
could have chosen. I don't know.
you only follow football, man. It's a little
Yes.
sad, but I mean, I'm here to make you feel bad about it. So it's all good.
Good.
Yeah,
So
Yanni played for the Greek national team. I think they made it to the quarterfinals, but bowed out. So yeah,
he chose the wrong team.
that's technical.
I know.
Well,
It's rules. It's rules.
the second nation of living. So
Yes.
he's from Africa, and then the roots of the Antetokounmpo family were put down in Greece. Yeah.
Right. Yep. I know. I just was asking. I didn't
All
know.
right.
You know, you usually have the best players from the U.S. go, and obviously there's some.
We're losing
citizenship.
everybody today. I will say, if anybody I couldn't see when I wanted to turn the game. Steph Curry put on a clinic in the last 2 minutes of that game. It was incredible. I was like,
Nice.
well, hey, if I get to see the best 3-point shooter in history do that, I was like, dang, Steph, like he was just incredible.
Well, Ron, I don't have anything more to talk about with the Packers. Do you?
No, not really, Tam. Again, looking forward to some basic preseason football come Sunday night. I love this stuff, Tay. I think it's great. It's not like they win, lose, or draw. Who cares? I mean, yeah, they won 23-10 last Saturday. It was a 3-1, field position piece in the first half last week is great. The Packers essentially dominated the Browns. I don't care if they lose 10-23 this week. It's about what do I get to see from these backups, and do I finally get a quarterback, real quarterback competition? Do I get to see Anders and Greg kind of hash it out for who's going to be the kicker? Do I get to see, where they're at with some depth in the middle of the field, dealing with that, how they're dealing with that interior defensive lineman piece? That's what I'm looking for. That's the fun stuff. This is why we're fans, Tay. We know
right.
the weaknesses, and honestly, Tay, this team doesn't have many weaknesses. They really don't. And the ones that you want to call weaknesses aren't very weak. This has been the most milquetoast training camp I can remember in forever. There's not, a position battle group that you go, man, they're so thin there. Again, remember the Band-Aids last year in the safety room? They made it work, but now they have a plethora of riches with 2 rookies, Tay. And, arguably one of the best guys under 25 in the NFL manning the whole thing. I mean, it's incredible the turnaround of that position group. And then Jordan Love last year, we're like, can that guy throw a deep ball? And now it's just like, damn, Jordan Love can just drop that in the bucket. And that arm talent, his footwork's gotten better, and it's all about the feet with quarterbacks and his ability to throw that ball the way he's been doing it in camp. Incredible. He had another one to Watson this week like that in camp. It's just, watching the progression of Jordan Love. I know you love the contract, but this guy, they're going to hit the ground running this year. We don't have to kind of wonder what they are. We know what they are. We're just watching these basic things about this team that's so young and can contend. I'm excited, man. I mean, shoot, Tay. Outside of maybe 2 other teams in the NFC, this is a favorite. No doubt about it. And we're in, preseason week 2.
Yep. No, you're right. Everything you said is on point, and you gotta love where we're at, what we're dealing with now, and and what to look forward to. You have to love it. I don't want to get my expectations too high. And I think that was reflected in our win-loss record, but prediction. But yeah, I agree. I mean, the sky's the
In
limit
the
for this
NFC,
team.
Tay, sky's the limit.
Yeah.
Big time.
Yep. And
Niners getting old, Tay. They're getting
And they're
real.
trading away their players.
In fact, we're still the youngest team roster in the NFL this year, and they are the oldest.
Yeah.
Get ready, Niners. New dog coming to knock you off your perch. That's all I'm saying.
All right, Ren, let's get out of here. I want to thank everyone for watching and or listening. We appreciate your support. Subscribe if you haven't. Follow the podcast. Follow us on social media. Excuse me. And Ren, thanks for joining me tonight on the video cast.
Hey, anytime, Tay. I mean, until episode 184, Tay, on the pup list. When I don't do things like saying dog on a perch, which is like a bird, dog analogy, doesn't make sense. So again,
83, Ren.
episode
83.
Oh, until 183, Tay.
283. We'll get it right.
Are we two? I mean, what are we? I mean, again, you knew what you're going into tonight. So until episode 283, Tay, on the pub list. It only took me 3.